Hi, I'm Rod Kurtz. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we have lined up for you. Prime Minister Mark Carney breathes a sigh of relief as his budget is passed and we avoid a Christmas election. Plus, the Institute for Canadian Citizenship releases a report showing 1 in 5 immigrants leave the country, many within just 5 years. And the Grey Cup comes home to Saskatchewan as Rider fans celebrate with the green and white.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News.
Thanks for joining us. A relieved-looking Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke with reporters Tuesday about Monday night's budget vote. The budget passed by a vote of 170 to 168. Green Party leader Elizabeth May backed the budget, following commitments from Carney on climate targets, while 4 MPs, including 2 Conservatives, abstained. The government must now table a budget implementation bill, which Carney is keen to do.
Important step for our country, protecting our communities, protecting our borders, protecting our way of life, building our country, building locally, building new trade infrastructure, building as an energy superpower, goes to your question. And Canada is blessed. We're blessed with immense natural resources, everything from hydroelectricity through to conventional oil and gas. We're part of an energy transition. We're going to help to lead it. That means Alberta, that means Quebec, that means Ontario, that means all of Canada, that means all forms of energy. And then last and most importantly, this is about empowering Canadians. It's about helping all Canadians get ahead. As I say, protecting our way of life, protecting our transfers to Canadian, getting affordability back established through a tax cut, as well as our essential social programs, everything from the National Food Program through to health care, child care, pharmacare, dental care. All of that is in the budget. I salute the 170 members of the House who supported it. I'm glad it came through.
The Prime Minister will be heading to the United Arab Emirates before continuing on to Johannesburg for the G20 summit. Before that, though, the Prime Minister welcomed the Swedish royal family to Ottawa today. Sweden's King Carl Gustaf XVI and Queen Sylvia arrived in Ottawa this morning for a 3-day state visit.
And we're meeting at exceptional times when friendships such as ours, similar values such as ours between Sweden and Canada could not be more important. We're just signing during this visit a strategic partnership between Canada and Sweden, a partnership that extends from defense to trade and to the environment and beyond.
It's easy to communicate. We had a lot of the same ideas when it came to politics questions abroad, with the rule of laws, when it comes to international questions. So it's easy to discuss and easy to understand each other. So I'm looking forward for these coming 2 days.
During the visit, Canada and Sweden are expected to highlight their cooperation on Ukraine, Arctic security, and as well a new strategic partnership as well. And speaking of Canada's relationship with Sweden, as Swedish firm Saab is considering setting up shop in Canada to build its Gripen fighter jets, the Canadian government is saying it needs more jobs created from its F-35 fighter jet contract with the U.S. Those comments today from Industry Minister Melanie Joly.
We believe that we didn't get enough when it comes to the F-35s. The industrial benefits are not enough. There needs to be more jobs created out of the F-35 contract. That's clear to me and clear to this government. And at the same time, we think that we can use military procurement to get more. And that is why we're looking indeed at the Gripen, and we're having conversations with Saab. So I'm having conversations with Saab, which is offering at this point 10,000 jobs. We'll see how that is concrete. And at the same time, we're looking at what Lockheed Martin can do more.
Ottawa is committed to buying the first 16 jets from Lockheed Martin to begin replacing Canada's aging fleet of CF-18 Hornets. But the Liberal government began reviewing the rest of the procurement for a total of 88 jets after U.S. President Donald Trump launched his trade war with Canada. A new report says 1 in 5 newcomers to our country leaves the country within 25 years of their arrival, and most of those who leave exit within their first 5 years here. The Institute for Canadian Citizenship's annual Leaky Bucket report says people with doctorates and other highly skilled individuals are far more likely to leave than those with lower skill or education levels. The Institute's calling on the government to develop a talent retention strategy to encourage highly skilled immigrants to stay long-term.
6.5 million Canadians lack access to a family doctor. 28,000 people died in this country last year awaiting a medical procedure or diagnostic. Immigrant healthcare workers are leaving at 36% above the average rate. Like, who loses there? And so we have a story to tell. And I think the story ought to be a little bit different. We ought to emphasize that immigration is not just a favor that we do to immigrants. It's a service that we do to ourselves.
And while we're talking about migration, more than 35,000 households left the Greater Toronto area in the past year, and many of those people are settling in Calgary. New data compiled by Environics Analytics shows about 3% of those departing the GTA relocated to Calgary, which amounts to about 2,500 families. Alberta's largest city is also the top non-Ontario destination for former GTA residents. The data compares household movement from the first quarter of last year with the first quarter of this year. The report says the top destination for former GTA residents was Simcoe County, which accounted for about 10% of movers, followed by Hamilton and Calgary, each at 3%. The U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate have voted to release the Justice Department's files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The vote is a remarkable display of approval for an effort that had struggled for months against opposition from U.S. President Donald Trump and Republican leadership. Prior to the vote, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene lashed out at Trump, repeating her call for all the Epstein files to be released.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
Trump has previously said he cut ties with Epstein many years ago, and he has always denied any link to Epstein's sex abuse and trafficking. Well, after rumors circulated yesterday that it was coming, the Alberta government has now tabled legislation that seeks to invoke the notwithstanding clause to shield the province from legal challenges. Bill 9, the Protecting Alberta's Children's Statutes Amendment Act, proposes changes to 3 pieces of legislation that were passed last year that require parental consent for students changing their names or pronouns in schools, prohibits gender surgery for minors, and also prevents youth under 16 from accessing puberty-blocking medication or hormone treatment for the purpose of gender reassignment, as well as a ban on transgender girls from participating in amateur female sports.
This legislation is not about denying care. We cannot and will not take the risk of a child undergoing medical, hormonal, or surgical interventions that could permanently limit or eliminate the choices they may want to make as an adult to have children of their own one day. Before I wrap up, I do want to speak directly to young Albertans who are navigating what their identity means through the already difficult process of growing up. You deserve dignity, understanding, and support. We will never stop working to keep you safe. You belong in Alberta. We firmly believe that. We also believe it's our duty to protect you. This legislation is about your future, so when the time comes, you have every opportunity to make the adult decisions that are rightfully yours, and yours alone.
Smith says invoking the notwithstanding clause was necessary to prevent potential court delays, which could take years, saying there are currently 3 lawsuits before the courts regarding the 3 pieces of legislation. The Privacy Commissioners of Ontario and Alberta have released a joint report into the massive privacy breach involving Power School education technology. Back in December of last year, Power School informed school boards in Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Alberta that there had been a breach that involved student information. In their report, the Privacy Commissioners say some or all of the educational bodies involved failed to include certain privacy and security provisions in their contracts with Power School to ensure they met the requirements of provincial public sector privacy law. They also say the educational bodies lacked policies and procedures to effectively monitor and oversee power schools' technical and security safeguards, especially when it came to access privileges for remote support personnel. There was also a lack of adequate breach response plans or protocols. The commissioners recommend that school boards renegotiate agreements with Power School to make sure they meet applicable provincial public sector privacy law, and also implement effective monitoring and oversight over Power School's remote support personnel, while also conducting a privacy impact assessment of their student information systems. The Massachusetts man who breached Power School has been sentenced to 4 years in prison. Well, Albertans have made their choice, and it looks like Moraine Lake will be featured on the province's new strong and free license plates. More than 240,000 Albertans cast votes in 3 rounds of voting, and the plate you see here came out on top. The new license plates will be available mid-2026, but there could be a bit of a legal wrinkle. A woman in New Brunswick who has a copyright on the phrase strong and free is looking to be compensated. Denise Dow has been operating Strong and Free Emblem Incorporated since 2007. She says ideally she'd like to negotiate an agreement with Alberta for the use of the trademark, but she says some of the royalties could be donated to a charity in our province. She says she doesn't have the funds for a long, drawn-out legal battle. Albertans are being warned of a test of the National Public Alerting System on Wednesday. Public Safety Minister Mike Ellis says on November 19th at 1:55 p.m., an Alberta emergency alert test will be issued across the province on television, radio, wireless devices, websites, social media, the Alberta Emergency Alert mobile app, and directly to compatible cell phones across the province. Ellis says these tests are essential to ensuring the system functions properly when it matters most. He also says the test is a valuable opportunity to talk with your household, friends, and co-workers about emergency preparedness. The province is reminding people to download the Alberta Emergency Alert app, which delivers critical warnings directly to your phone. To receive alerts through your mobile device, it must be compatible and connected to an LTE 4G network or higher, or connected to Wi-Fi with the app installed. The Blood Tribe Police are seeking witnesses from an event in October where multiple pedestrians were left seriously injured in a hit-and-run in standoff. The incident occurred on October 10th near the trading post just off of Highway 2. The vehicle hit multiple pedestrians and fled the scene before police arrived. A 15-year-old female sustained serious injuries and was airlifted to Foothills Medical Center in Calgary. And a 19-year-old female sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries and was transported to hospital in stable condition. Police eventually located the truck that was involved and arrested the driver without incident. And now police are asking anyone who witnessed the event to come forward, plus anyone who might have cell phone or dash cam or doorbell cam footage. They can call Blood Tribe Police at 403-373-3800 and reference file 251-513-873. National Addiction Awareness Week runs this week, and according to provincial statistics, the number of overdose deaths in the Lethbridge area has fallen to a decade low. The city witnessed its grimmest year in overdose deaths in 2023 with 118 recorded fatalities. But in the first 7 months of 2025, only 6 were recorded. That's a 93% drop from 2023 and on pace to match the lowest level of deaths in 9 years. Fresh Start Recovery recently marked 2 years since the opening of the Lethbridge Recovery Centre. The executive director of Fresh Start says efforts from the community and the provincial government have proven to bear fruit, but says the work is not done.
It is a community effort. We can't do what we do alone. We need the support of the government. We need the support of the community. That support is coming. Lethbridge has given back support. You're talking about people being returned to their families, back to employers, to the community as a whole, whether it be in housing, employment, just overall support. It's been an amazing outcome, and it's only growing. And I think when you stop and look where we were and where we're going, that just kind of reiterates the whole idea. It's not to celebrate the great we are. It's a moment to kind of reflect, to say that the pathways that are being led and created are becoming successful, and the reduction in opiate overdoses is a clear signal that this is occurring and that we are traveling in the right direction.
The Lethbridge Recovery Centre contains 50 beds for people finding a way to detox by improving their overall health and developing long-term life skills to counter addiction. Well, it was Grey Cup Parade Day in Regina, Saskatchewan, as Rider fans celebrated the 25-17 win over Montreal Sunday in the 112th Grey Cup game. Quarterback Trevor Harris had this message for Rider Nation.
This team has just been so motivated this year by a love for one another, but it's also been motivated by you guys, the best fan base in the country. And we're so grateful to have you guys as our fans, man. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
They're still celebrating, obviously, and good on them. I mean, They deserve it.
They worked hard all year. They've been champions all year, and it's nice that they came away with what their whole goal was, the Grey Cup.
The Rough Riders have been my lifetime team. I'm from Regina. I take a lot of flack from other people out there, but Riders have been in a lot of cups. They just don't win them. But for the smallest franchise, they did really, really well. I thought that was traditional for a championship team to share that with the fans. There was a lot of fans out there, and I'm looking forward to repeat next year.
The 113th Grey Cup game will be played next November at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. A little later on the program, we're going to chat with natural nutrition practitioner Josie Bosgra about how to stay healthy during cold and flu season. One new therapy that's become popular in the wellness space is peptide treatments. And while they're pitched by wellness influencers and fitness coaches and celebrities as a way to build muscle, shed pounds, and look younger, doctors are warning people to be careful.
First of all, peptides are very exciting frontier in modern medicine. They are essentially short chains of amino acids, and that is the building block of our bodies. But what we need to understand is that science is moving very, very fast. And there is an importance to understand the difference between clinical innovation and hype.
There are a few peptides that are FDA approved. Most of them are not FDA approved and without human data.
I think peptides are popular right now because we are the aging generation and we are looking for alternatives to modern day medicine. I absolutely believe in modern day Western world medicine. It's necessary. But there's a lot of other things in the universe that the earth supplies that we could be enhancing on and incorporating in, and our bodies will receive it better.
Depending on which peptide we're using, it has a targeted response in the body. So we utilize them to target things like inflammation, to improve sleep cycles, circadian rhythm, metabolism.
These are all putative benefits. None of them are proven. None of them have gone through what would be considered adequate clinical trials in people. I hope these peptides, one of them or more, might work someday, but they have to be tested like any other intervention, any other drug. But right now we don't have any data whatsoever for peptides, anti-aging supplements, longevity clinics, and all these other things in a circus of unproven, expensive, and possibly dangerous factors that are out there being heavily promoted.
Some peptides, particularly those affecting hormone levels, can cause side effects like hormone imbalance, mood swings, or poor sugar regulation. So it's important to discuss those risks with a doctor. Travelers and advocates say WestJet has discriminated against people living with a disability after a former member of Parliament wasn't allowed on a flight earlier this year. The Calgary-based airline says mobility aids are capped at 300 pounds, which rules out many power wheelchairs. Former politician Stephen Fletcher was told last February that he wasn't able to board a flight from Winnipeg to Toronto because his wheelchair was too heavy. Arch Disability Law Center lawyer Devin Glim says the weight limit effectively denies access to air travel for most custom power wheelchair users. But advocates point out no other major North American airline has such a low weight cap for mobility aids. Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says the annual pace of housing starts fell 17% in October. The seasonally adjusted annual rate dropped to around 233,000 units, down from September. Deputy Chief Economist Tanya Barasa Ochoa says declines in Ontario and BC drove the decrease. She says higher starts in Montreal, Calgary, and Edmonton kept year-to-year date totals ahead of last year. Vancouver-based clothing retailer Lululemon will be outfitting Canada's Olympic winter athletes, and they've revealed a collection of parkas, snow pants, scarves, and more, and of course, featuring our national emblem, the maple leaf.
For opening, we're looking at the darkest red we could find, a very, very deep, saturated dark red. That's inspired by the host city of Milan. When we thought about them landing in that opening ceremony, and they have a jacket that's much more tailored, has a longer length, we wanted to figure out what would be the right color that goes with this craftsmanship and this tailoring inspired by Milan. So we went with this darker red, and that also ends up being a really good backdrop so that the maple leaf that are in a brighter red really stand out on this backdrop. So that was our idea. When we see the athletes from afar in a camera coming in the stadium for opening ceremony, we would have this view of like all these great maple leaf coming through. It's a transformable item. So it's a vest and it's a scarf all at the same time. And there's multiple ways to wear it. So when we designed it, we always think about this, it's uniform, but how can we build in ways for the athletes to be able to customize it their way for their own personality or their need in that moment. This one for podium, we went with a bright red. So on the other side of it, we went for the brightest red we could chemically achieve on our fabric. So that's what we went for, full head to toe and fully insulated. So that if you're at the top of a mountain, you'll still be warm. And then we have a different print. So in opening ceremony, you'll see it's 2 layers of prints coming together. So the base print is a topographical map of Canada. So we had an artist draw the map, and then we reinterpreted that into an all-over print. So that's what you can see on the jacket, and it's layered with another print that these gradient of red. And the way the 2 prints come together, it makes it that every jacket is slightly different. So every athlete gets something that's unique to them.
The 2026 Winter Olympics take place February 6th to the 22nd in various locations across northern Italy, with the city of Milan hosting the opening ceremonies. Now here is a look at today's markets.
The TSX was down 39 to 30,036. The Dow was down 498 to 46,091. The S&P 500 was down 55 to 6,617. And the NASDAQ was down 275 to 22,432. West Texas Intermediate oil was up 76 cents to $60.67 US per barrel. Natural gas was up a cent to $4.37 US. Gold was up 21.13 to $40.6770 US an ounce, and silver was up 48 cents to $50.69 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $7.45 per bushel. Barley is at $5.83. Canola is at $14.90, and corn is at $7.46 per bushel. Live cattle were down $1.25 to $2.20.02 for the December contract. Feeder cattle were up 92 cents to $3.40.77, and lean hogs December contract was down 67 cents to $77.90. And the Canadian dollar was up slightly over the past 24 hours and currently sits at $71.50 US.
Recapping one of our top stories, it's full steam ahead for the Carney government and its latest deficit-laden budget. MPs voted 170 to 168 to pass the budget on Monday. Green Party leader Elizabeth May voted in favor, but there were also 4 abstentions, and 2 of those were Conservatives. Coming up, Toronto Sun political columnist Brian Lilly will join us to talk about some of that gamesmanship that took place to get the federal budget across the finish line. And we'll also discuss Prime Minister Carney's energy plans and whether Albertans should be excited when the PM talks about oil and gas being part of the mix. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our stories and interviews.